But put the bow and arrow down! Look, Lizardo, I don't know how to tell you this, but you're the worst magician I've ever seen in my life.
Is Wayne Brady gonna have to choke a bitch?
Unfortunately, Wayne Brady doesn't ever have to choke a bitch. But, through a small 30-second reprise of the toy song from earlier, Geppetto realizes he was wrong and then promptly runs away to make things right with Pinocchio. Wait a minute! The first person in this movie who can actually sing and you barely let him do it at all? Bullshit! And if you were going to bring in a Who's Line guy for a comedy segment, why not bring Colin and Ryan too?
What is wrong with you people?
Anyway, moving along, this next scene is particularly memorable because it feels like it's from a whole different movie. A better movie, but a different one nonetheless. Geppetto arrives at a town called Idealia, where all the children seem, well, ideal. They do whatever their parents tell them to do, one even asking to be excused from playing, all thanks to a man they call Professor Buon Ragazzo. A couple who is on their way to see the professor takes Geppetto with them because he says he's looking for a little boy. Something else that can be misunderstood in many ways. This being one of them, but unfortunately I can't make a joke about it. So we meet the professor, played by our second Star Trek guy, Rene the chef from The Little Mermaid. He is a rather eccentric man who we could also make a lot of pedophile jokes on, but I've already taken too long in the review. He has actually invented a machine that makes what he calls perfect children, right down to being able to pick things like hair color and disposition.
We were thinking blonde.
Blonde, fantastico. And eyes? Brown, just like yours. Brown, delizioso. And disposition?
Perky.
I don't know why, but it rather creeps me out whenever she says perky.
Perky.
I know the way I'm describing it, this scene seems like a big mess, but my suspension of disbelief is working fine with this scene. I can totally believe in this story that this guy can make children simply because there were too many variables making children the other way. Also, because of Renee's eccentricity, I can deal with every other little funny type of thing he tries to say.
You get a discount for the referral. You made him yourself. Oh, he made him himself. You can never trust a fairy to get things right.
Also, I love how Geppetto tries to talk about wanting to have the children the old-fashioned way, even though he cut down and carved his child from a tree. So anyway, the professor makes the couple from earlier a little girl, who greets them with a jingle.
Papa's a little princess, I'll be Mama's little pal. For I love you both to pieces, what you say to do I shall. I love cooking, I love sewing, dusting when I get the chance. But like every little blonde girl, what I do the best is dance.
Even the song sequences aren't actually that bad because they start doing them in shifts and the lyrics themselves aren't actually too horrible.
Satisfaction guaranteed, satisfaction guaranteed. See Professor Buon Ragazzo for a better way to breed. By my artificial child, then you'll be certain to succeed as a parent, guaranteed. Now, what do you say?
Then he makes him a new version of Pinocchio, somehow without getting any details to him. And this part, well, I guess there was some part of the scene I had to hate. Ah, no! You can't hug my leg, son! At least not in public! Oh, come on! The jokes are so easy! As if that wasn't bad enough, he makes him another boy, which is just as annoying.
Could I be your new Pinocchio? See, I look a little wooden, but I'll never get...
I already made a wooden joke, so instead I'll mock the fact that they sound like they were made with helium. Slowly but surely, this whole scenario begins to freak Geppetto out. But the professor doesn't stop there. He keeps mugging, he makes him a girl, a pair of twin girls, and then begins having the whole damn town assault him with a song.
I love painting walls and fences. I love memorizing tenses. I love knitting dad a sweater. I'm a champion pirouetter. I add fractions in my head. Come and watch me make my bed.
And they do it all so cutely, we can promise absolutely.
Now, the choreography is still pretty damn good here, but it becomes way too much for Geppetto. And me. So, just like he has been doing in a lot of these scenes, he runs away.
Geppetto? Then Signor Geppetto?
What self-respecting parent would want a perfect kid?
Signor Geppetto?
I mean, besides me, a few days ago.
Days, minutes. Who cares? My small time with Wayne Brady has changed me. He's that good.
And about as imperfect as they come. Pinocchio was
Then we get that lame scene where he says he could be 1,000 miles away before he drives right past him unknowingly. And then to make matters worse, Dreyfus comes back.
Wait.
Alright, Dreyfus is officially high while doing this. Again, the moment she starts flying, you could easily tell she's not there. You know, I would prefer it at this point if visible wires were holding up. At least then I could make another puppet joke. Anyway, she tells him about Pleasure Island, she tells him that Stromboli lied to him, and she points him in the right direction. Was that so hard? Well, then he arrives at Pleasure Island, where Usher plays the very androgynous-sounding ringmaster. You could argue with this, but at least he's not shit-your-pants scary like the last ringmaster.
They never come back as boys.
And now we get a song sequence that I have absolutely no problem with.
Pleasure Island, Pleasure Island. It's that what's for supper, candy, cake, and pie land. See that window, why not break it? See that toy there, I'll just take it. And you'll never have a lesson or a chore to do. Rules and limits, kiss goodbye land. Pleasure Island welcomes you.
I mean it, I have no problems with the Pleasure Island theme song. The lyrics are good, Usher does a pretty good job singing it, there's little to no choreography, but given the nature of Pleasure Island, which is chaos going on everywhere, there really doesn't need to be. This is just pretty flawless, in my opinion. Much like the previous scene, Usher's only in the movie for a little under 10 minutes, but he steals the show during his time on screen. Anyway, Stromboli gets onto the island, and for some reason, even though he only wants one boy out of thousands, the ringmaster refuses him and has him dragged away. I'd say he thinks a wooden boy would be special, but you already know what happens on Pleasure Island. Anyway, Geppetto finds the donkeys and discovers that the key to all the donkey problems is the roller coaster. He makes his way over there, but Pinocchio refuses to listen to him and gets on the coaster, and of course, begins turning into a donkey.
What's happening to you? Oh no!
Wow. You know, that bad acting and bad effect sequence was really, really narmy, but then you know what? I prefer narmy over the scariest shit transformation we had in the original film. Anyway, Geppetto gets on the roller coaster, which doesn't affect him because he's an adult, and it starts moving again so fast, even though nobody triggered it, and somehow none of the Pleasure Island guys can stop him in time. Apparently he gets there too late. Pinocchio is taken away to the boat where the salt mines await, and Usher takes one last opportunity to taunt him from behind the steel bars. The end of the scene starts off cool, but then it just kind of blows up at the end because he drags out the memory line forever, his motions are forever, and the music just gets a little forced. My last on-screen moment, and I'm gonna milk every second of it. Hope you enjoyed my 80s Michael Jackson impression, audience. Goodbye. Anyway, Pinocchio is then shipped off to sea in a scene that is obviously too expensive to film, so they use storybook pages instead. Geppetto follows after him, somehow being able to keep up with a ship, using only a small fishing boat. And then the whale swallows him, and in a huge cop-out, Pinocchio jumps overboard to save him, and he gets eaten too. What? What? All that build-up on Pleasure Island, and he gets away just by jumping overboard the ship? What the hell? And for that matter, why don't all the other donkeys do that too? You could argue that they're in the middle of the ocean, but if they still have conscious minds, why don't they do something? I don't know, like take over the boat? I don't know. Do something! Oh, well, let's just go with it. So we get another cop-out when apparently the water washes off the donkey part, as Pinocchio puts it. How it doesn't damage his wooden body is my next complaint. Anyway, they then make up in about 2 minutes' time, and this time, rather than making the whale sneeze, they happen to be right near the whale's uvula. So, using the nose gag again, they make him throw up. I'd love to see how disgusting they look after that, how they get away from the whale, and if there's a near-death experience like in the first film. I'm really hoping so. But again, they completely skip it! Right after they get thrown up, they just skip to them getting back to the toy shop.